buckle up. It's time to take the trip, buckle up.
You're listening to the Take the Trip podcast, where you'll find real talk and zero filter. I'm your host, Kendra Fogarty, and today I'm here with Chris and Kelly of My 500 Square Feet Life. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I love how supportive you are in the RV community. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you better and learning about your journey. And I also appreciate all of your RV hacks and your tips and tricks that you guys share. So let's start there. Do you have a favorite hack or a less common upgrade that you think is essential or that has really up-leveled your RV situation?
Recently just added a whole home water pump to our RV. So no matter where I go, my pressure never changes.
Oh, this is interesting. I don't think this is something that I've heard of before. So what does that look like? Or where do you install this?
I ended up installing it in line with the water hose system. So right in the city inlet or before the normal city inlet. And it provides extra pressure there. Still run a regulator. Don't want to blow apart my lines, but I want to make sure I'm always at that 55, 60 mark for pressure in this RV.
Okay, so just to clarify, because I'll just be honest, I don't do anything with hoses or tubes or anything out there. It is different from that blue thing that we put on the hose right after the...
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, that's good to know. I bet that makes such a difference, especially when you're in low water pressure areas. Very cool. I have to say, one tip that you guys shared recently that I was like, ooh, I want to try that is the kitty litter mat for your mat right there. And that's genius, because then all the dirt just falls through to the next level, right? I thought that was smart. Did you just come up with that and try that? Do you even have a cat?
We don't have a cat.
So we have 2 dogs, and it was one that I was scrolling through and saw someone else throw out there. So we shared it again, and it was a game changer.
Okay. Yeah. Sharing is caring. When we pass along the tips, I thought that was a really smart one that I would have never thought of. All right. So Chris, congratulations on retiring at 40. How did writing that resignation letter feel?
Oh, it was amazing.
So you all have been stationary for, is it 3 years or how long?
About 3.5 years, we were stationary full time.
Okay. And when you started that, was the plan always that you knew that you would be able to retire at 40 and then you would launch? Or walk us through the planning and your journey a little bit?
The timeline was a little longer originally. We did all of this to be able to get to this point much sooner. That, all of the movement, and we had talked about it. I worked with that company it was 15 years whenever I left. So I transferred to Texas with them, all of that. But we ended up taking probably about 2 years off. We were able to save more as we were going and get ready to move and hit the road.
Okay, well, that is awesome. Congratulations. So when did you finally leave? How long have you now been moving?
3 months?
December 12th was my last day there, and we hit the road on the 14th.
Oh, okay. Give yourself one day. Okay, I love it. Yes. So how is it feeling now that you are moving around, and how fast are you traveling?
So we've been bouncing around, seeing family, kind of catching up on lost time, if you will, when we were 1,000 miles away. Then those nasty cold fronts swept through, and we decided to stay a little further south a little longer. So we sat in North Florida for about just shy of 2 months. We're hitting the road again, headed to Southern California on Friday.
Oh, exciting. And you have one teenage daughter, is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Emma's 14, she homeschool.
How is she adjusting to moving?
She is so go with the flow. She is not like me. I need a plan and to know everything and have contingencies for my contingencies. And she just rides along.
Okay, I love that. So this is going to be a little bit different from you, because I know when we were chatting, you were like, there's some plans up in the air. So how does that feel to kind of just embrace it and just go with where the wind blows or where the sun's shining and not have a set plan?
He's looking at me because it's, how do I feel? Because he's cool as a cucumber. So he got an app where he could plan the route, kind of pick the location, just not book them. So we have a plan, they're just not booked. And that way, if we get on our travels and something happens, or we just need an extra day, or someone gets sick or whatever, we're not having to change 20 reservations.
That is smart. That is definitely a good piece of advice. I am curious, do you stay in the Thousand Trails system, or do you typically just so you're just doing private or state parks and that type of thing?
We are long, and I'm a pedestal princess. So I want my whole long hot shower with our pressure and hot water and everything. So we typically book campgrounds. We do like the ones that are cheaper, but sometimes that's not available or it's not secure enough or whatever. Sometimes they're a little more expensive. Sometimes they're like $20.
Yeah, it varies. Sometimes it can even out depending on where you're going through. All right, great. So whose idea was it then in the first place?
That would be me.
That was yours. Okay. And how many years has that been in the making then? Like, when did you first start talking about this possibility?
I want to say we were probably talking about it for 1.5 to 2 years before. I got a small 30-foot bumper pole to test it out. Took a nice long trip to see what it was like, living in a smaller space, which went very well, clearly. After that, we found what RV we wanted to get, figured out the path, what we're doing. And then in the process, I actually was offered a promotion with the company I was working with, which required us to move from Central Florida to Houston, which was absolutely the timing and the push we needed to just jump out there and do it, because sell the house, get rid of all the other stuff and start moving.
Oh my gosh, I love how the universe aligned to make that happen for you. That's so great. And also kind of ironic that you're like, yes, I will take a promotion for a brief amount of time, but I'm planning my retirement just a couple years.
I actually said that in the job interview. They had no more than 5 years. I said, I know what we're doing. I know what we're looking forward to and where I want to be. And it's not here for the next decade. So I was like, but I'll give you my all till then.
That says a lot about you, though. That's a huge compliment that they were still like, well, we'll take you for 5 years. That's fine.
When we started talking about it, going full time, moving, homeschooling Emma, there was a moment where I literally looked at Chris and everything was lining up so perfectly. I said, at what point are we not supposed to listen to what we're supposed to do? Some things were easy. Obviously, some things were really hard, but to make the decisions were really easy.
So were there any moments then, because you even said adjusting to the smaller square footage was easy for you guys. Were there any things that happened that had you doubting whether or not it was the right path for your family?
When we looked at a house full of stuff that we had to get rid of, I literally gave away like 95% of it. I told everyone, all of our family and friends, we're from the same tiny town. So like our house was full of gifts and things from everybody. I said, if you ever gave it to us and it's still in this house, it can go. You can go right back to you. You can give it away. You can sell it. I don't want it. No, it's got to go. That was the hardest part.
Yeah, I agree. In theory, too, it didn't feel that bad. It was kind of like making a to-do list, like, okay, get rid of the stuff. You don't realize really how difficult that is. And for me, it was much more emotionally challenging than I was really prepared for. I also thought I was kind of a minimalist. And then when I was getting rid, I was like, ain't no way that was any type of minimalism, even though I thought we were. Like, I thought we purged pretty regularly. It was rowdy, though. And it was hard for me. I cried I remember standing, I ran to my walk-in closet during our estate sale, and I was just bawling. It was actually much more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Did you have any of those feelings, or did it just feel freeing to be like, come get the stuff you want?
Chris literally loaded an enclosed trailer of stuff and took it to the dump. We sold a couple of big furniture items, but everything else we gave away, and what couldn't be given away, because we did the whole thing in 3 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
The house was empty.
That's it.
Yeah. We planned for a while, but once it was time to go, it was time to go right then. It was too much at one time. So I had my aunt and my cousin came over and they helped sort through my life. And it was that split second, yes, no. And there was no second guessing. And we still
That's a good way to
more
do
than we
it.
needed to.
Yeah. And I love that. That's a good way to do it, though. What is that, Marie Kondo? Where it's the quick yes, no. Right.
Yep.
I love that.
To say for me, there were moments, right? There's moments where you pick something up and it reminds you of something that happened, a person, whatever it may be. And then I kind of always kept getting back to it. This is just stuff. It's the catalyst to the memory. It will never be the memory. And that's where I kind of separated and was able to go, hey, it's just stuff and I don't need it.
He says that all the time still. When I like something at the store, I'm like, look how cute this is. He's like, it's just stuff.
That took me a long time to learn that lesson, Chris. And I think that's a really valuable one, because when we have things that family members have given us, family members that have passed away that have given us, it feels horrible. It feels wrong. And you just have to remember, this has nothing to do with my relationship with that person. This is just a thing, right? It doesn't change any of our memories or the love that we shared. It's just like an object, and it's okay to release that and give it a new home if it's something that does need a good home. There were a few things where I was like, nobody would want this, but you know how that goes.
We all have those.
Yes. So when Chris first brought up this idea, what was your reaction, Kelly?
So originally, several years before, he RV'd for 32 years growing up. So there's that. He was like, hey, let's get a camper. I was like, ooh, that sounds like roughing it. Because I tent camped, right? Like no bathroom. You had to like go across the state park and there's bugs. I was like, no, I don't think we're going to do that. And then life changed. And one day I was like, hey, my Pinterest had these cute little campers that people bought for like just $1,000. That's all you need. And you can fix it up and all of this stuff. And he's like, yeah, well, we'll go look in it. And he's like, I'm going to take you to look at an RV, be inside of it. And you can see how small it is and maybe it's not for you. So we bought an RV that day.
Yes. Oh, that's a great story. I love it.
And then 1 year later, we bought another new RV to be in full time. And it was just, again, he knew how to fix everything. I just break things.
Right. It's easy to break things in an RV. It is important to have someone that knows how to repair them for sure. So speaking of that, Chris, you recently became an RV tech, or you're working on getting the certification.
Working on the certifications right now.
Awesome. And you're over on Highway Handyman, right?
That's
So,
right.
yeah, that's awesome. It's always great to have more RV tech friends and people on the road. I'm sure that there will be no shortage of RVs for you to fix up. And I'm sure that's just so valuable, too, as the skills to have in your own rig. I am really curious because y'all have a Keystone Avalanche. We have one, too, but it's older than yours. Pre-COVID. And I'm just going to be blunt. We haven't been super impressed with it. And I'm just curious how yours has treated you.
I've probably rebuilt about 70% of this rig by now.
Wow. Okay.
Probably an exaggerated number, but nonetheless, they all come with challenges. And from growing up in RVs, they were built different. It's really that simple. But this one's been rebuilt different. So
a lot of the projects you see me post, it was really started out as a repair. And Chris is like, well, this is like this. I'm going to build it better. So that's kind of most of them where they come from.
That makes sense. It's great that you have the skills. What was the most surprising, or I guess most major repair or like renovation that you completed?
Our entire storage bay underneath the basement had been poorly sealed from the outside and ended up having the floor rot. So I had to completely rip that thing apart. And then I re-engineered the entire bay while I was there, rebuilt all my water connections, about 30% more storage, and then put better flooring and better wood in so I don't have to worry about that again. And of course, fix the original leak.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That had to be a huge job, but probably felt really good to have it completed. And like you said, just knowing that it was better than where it started.
We looked really crazy trying to do it. Everything was like sprawled out. We were at 1,000 trails.
Gosh.
I was like, just like a couple days.
I think I had it done in a weekend.
Yeah, he was still working. Almost all of our repairs, he still worked full time doing all of them too. We had to pay for them.
That's tricky. Yeah, for sure. And that one probably did throw you off while you were just trying to live in it. Did you have to do the underbelly under your living area or just the storage in the front?
So just the storage left.
Okay, got it. We had to do our underbelly at one point, and then we had a slide floor, right? That was a surprise. We were actually just going to put some bunk beds in, and then after we pulled like that out, it was like, oh, this floor is totally rotted. Like we had no idea. And I think that was the freakiest part of it, because it's like, how do you know about some of these things that are hiding until you uncover them? You just don't really know. It's so tricky. All right. So something that made me laugh, Kelly, you had shared that Chris has a special talent for getting asked the most bizarre questions in person. So I'm really just wondering, do you remember any of these? Can you share any?
So we'll go with the most recent. As we're walking through Walmart and I got a bag of my pellets for my grill on my shoulder. Kelly's in line, she's got her spot ready. So I'm trying to get there real quick. I have some lady walk up. I have no idea who she is. I'm not from this area. And she just stops me, dead in my tracks, and shows me these like steaks, like ground steaks, the little metal, check mark looking thing. And she goes, do you think this will hold a raccoon trap in place? And honestly, if I had more time, my curiosity would have really asked a lot more questions. But nonetheless, she said that she had some really tricky raccoons and they were able to flip the trap and get the bait that she had put in there. And she needed to know if that would hold it still. And my recommendation was she needed to get better ones if they're really that tricky a raccoon. I'm
glad you were able to steer her in the right direction. Oh, that is a funny one. That is very random. Now, are the questions usually in that theme where someone's just like, he's giving like, he knows how to get shit done vibes and I should like ask this person something? Or is it just all over the place?
It's all over the place, but a lot of times it is. I'll be out somewhere and I might even just be outside the trailer doing something and somebody will walk up and start with a question, or it's something random. So I guess I bring randomness out of people.
Well, you're on a great podcast for that then. But that is funny though. Okay, so before we get into some more road stories, let's play a quick game. Live, visit, exile. So I'm going to give you 3 locations. One you need to choose to live, one you may visit, the final one you must exile forever. So the first group is a mountain town in Colorado, a small coastal town on the Atlantic, or the desert in Arizona. So which one are you going to live in? If you have to live in one, which one would you visit, but which would you exile, never to return again?
I mean, I know for me, and it's just because I have to make a choice on one of them goes, it would be the desert. And I love the desert, but I wouldn't want to spend months and years there. So I would visit the mountains and I would live on the coast.
As a native Floridian, I feel like I want to see more things. So I guess I will exile the beach. That's hard. There's another beach. I'll find another one. And then I don't think I could live in the mountains all the time because I don't think I could do snow. So I'll visit there. So I guess I'm going to be burned up in the desert.
I do love the desert, but it would be really hard in the summertime. All right, so the next one, you kind of just shared an answer for this too, because it is similar. Florida, Utah, and Washington State. Which one would you choose to live in? Which would you visit and which would you exile?
I mean, I've already lived in Florida, but I would have to say I'd still go back to Florida just for the simple fact of the other 2 places snow. So I'm out on snow. Visit Utah and exile Washington State.
I think of those, I'll have to agree.
You're going to agree on that too?
I will. I don't think I'm built for snow.
Yeah. Okay, I know. I'm not either. I always say I'm more like a lizard. I require like full sunshine on like a rock. Okay, well, good. Thanks for sharing, guys. So let's get back to the adventure. So I feel like most RVers have like a wildlife story. Maybe there's a raccoon, sometimes a bear, something like that. But a chimpanzee breaking into your truck is just like a whole different category of chaos. So please take us back to that moment. Like, where the hell were you?
So this was a long time ago. I was about 19, actually. So before traveling, but nonetheless, I was at a job interview at a ranch, and I did not know that this person had I'm going to say pet, but more like a family member that was a chimpanzee that knew how to open car doors and would actually start and put them in gear if you leave keys in them. Thank goodness those were in my pocket. So I go talk to the lady about the job interview in the barn. And then when I get back, I open my driver's side door and there's a 250, 300-pound chimpanzee sitting in my passenger seat. Like, let's go for a ride. So it took me about 40 minutes to get him out because by the time I went to go find her, she was gone and I didn't have a vehicle at the point. It was currently being guarded by a chimpanzee. With that, he was never violent in any way. He'd never once tried to do anything to me. He just wanted to go with me. Like he truly would go for rides and all these other things. And also found out every once in a while he'd walk down to the local bar and enjoy himself.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's amazing.
He was a local legend in a little town called Loretta in Central Florida.
Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with that. That's so interesting. I can't believe you'd go down to the bar. That is so epic.
That's one of few things before smartphones I wish I'd have had a smartphone for.
Right.
But they weren't around yet.
Okay. And Kelly, one recent post I've loved of yours was that you shared that your younger self would have pinned you to their Pinterest board. And that just resonated because I would have pinned you too. I don't know for sure if I would have pinned myself, but you share great content and you share some really awesome RV friendly recipes. So I'm just curious, were you really into cooking before the RV? Was that hard to transition to a smaller kitchen, or what did that look like for you?
So before living in an RV full time, not even like for the weekends, I couldn't cook. Everything was cooked on high and halfway burnt every time. I even caught spaghetti noodles on fire underwater. Like I have the actual picture.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so whenever we were transitioning to be in the RV, I was looking at ways to save money because I quit working and he was the sole provider. So I was trying to do my best to cut expenses and learn how to cook from scratch to where I wasn't having to freeze everything because we had such a little freezer. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this and learn how to cook from scratch, just watching videos and different things, picking up tips. Once I finally turned on the gas stove, which I was so afraid of blowing us up, like so afraid, it was really easy and things cooked easier and more evenly. And then my biggest challenge was figuring out the oven. I was like, this thing has to work. Found a bunch of tips, put them all together. Make homemade bread. We never made bread before.
Wow, I love that it became more of an evolution once you got in the RV, that you got more into like cooking and baking and stuff. I feel like that's rare, but that's really impressive. And I agree, the lighting of the oven is just never not terrifying. Every single time, it's just like, why, why is this what you have to do? Yeah, it's scary. So I love that though, and that's impressive that you were able to get it to cooperate and work well for you and everything. Now, is there any appliance hack or even just a piece of advice that you would share to like new RVers that are transitioning to a smaller kitchen area?
If you're looking at cooking with a stove, a pizza stone in your oven, best thing you could do, $20. Digital thermometer for your stove, because the knob is not going to be accurate like ever. And those are like, $8 or so. And then if you're cooking on top of the stove, the type of pan you have matters. Like it needs to be a thicker bottom so it's even and things like that.
Those are very good tips. Yes, that's so helpful. And those are a lot that learned the hard way. So that is great for if anyone's listening and they're new to RVing. She just saved you a lot of frustration, because that is really, really good advice. Do you use any hacks like air fryer stuff or anything else like in addition, or do you just use what came with your RV?
We got an air fryer from Walmart that has 2 layers and it's a tray, so it can cook different temperatures and things. And we used it a lot more in the beginning. Chris actually started deep frying in like peanut oil, which is like country fried greatness. I won't do it. I'm afraid of burning sound. So we don't use the air fryer as much as we did, but that's the only extra appliance that we use. Actually, that's a lie. I used to have a crock pot and an Instapot, and we got a multi-cooker from Walmart that will slow cook and saute and a bunch of other things. And I loved that for having like a separate cooking area. And then it washes the whole pot, can go on the stove or in the oven also. And then it's dishwasher safe.
Okay. Oh, and you have a dishwasher?
Too.
That's fire. Okay, jealous. Did that come with your... Okay, you added it. And does it go in like one portion of the sink, or do you have it like built into a different area?
So my lovely husband had to cut up the counter to fit the sink that I won in a giveaway from Fotile America. They had a Mother's Day giveaway. And I literally commented one comment because I'm like, I'm never going to win this thing. So I tagged my one friend that has been talking about him. I'm like, hey, they got a giveaway, just showing her. And I won it. So I messaged her and I was like, hey, I'm kind of taking the giveaway, sorry. So we had to cut a bigger square because our sink that was here had like the one weird size and like the tiny little one that could dry a cup. So we had to cut that. So it took out some of the cabinet. We had to change the trash can to get it in. But it is a really good size. It uses 3 gallons of water. And the sink part is actually bigger and deeper than what we had before. I really love it.
That's great to know. Very jealous. All right. So I do want to play a game of Would You Rather. So the first one, would you rather accidentally wave back at a fellow camper who wasn't waving at you, right, but you thought they were, or just confidently start a conversation with someone who you thought you recognized from Instagram to find out it was not the person you thought it was? In fact, you don't know them at all.
Considering I've done both of those more than one time, I'll take waving.
You waving, yeah, because that's easier to get out of. That makes sense. What about you, Chris?
Me too, but I also am one of those that I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. So I would just find a new friend in that conversation and be like, you are not who I thought you were, but by the way, I'm Chris.
Okay, yes. That's the perspective that I need as like an anxious person, because when I get into a situation like that with myself, I'm like, I do not know how to move forward here. What do I do? I think it happens a lot too, where I might see someone if we're at a really busy Thousand Trails and I'm like, I know that I have seen that person, whether it's online somewhere else. I think probably online, don't know for sure. And I just like can't place them. And then it's like, I'll go up to them and just be like, hi, what is your name? Right? Can you reveal your identity so I can figure out who you are? It's so funny.
We normally look like someone, brown eyes, brown hair. So people will walk up to us and they're like, oh, Sally. I'm like, well, it's Kelly, but
yeah.
Close enough.
Okay. But I also love how some current campgrounds you're at, everyone just assumes that you're like friends already. They're like, everyone who's here is just our friend. So everyone just like approaches you as if you're already best friends. Those are the best vibes. I enjoy that so much. Have you ever had someone, though, who came up to you and had recognized you from social media that you didn't know?
Well, they came up to Chris at one of our overnight stops on our way to Florida from Texas. It was the camp host of the campground. she was like, hey, I just want to let you know we follow you. And we had something in our Amazon cart that you suggested, and I'm waiting on it or whatever it is. And I was inside with my family. They came over to see us. So Chris was like, hey, this person came up to me and, knew who we are when they followed us. And like, first of all, I felt like a rock star. I'm like, hey. But then I was like, oh, I have no idea who that is. And I couldn't go back because it was like nighttime then and try to find them, make sure I follow them or,
That's fun. I like that.
maybe
Do
they'll
you
find
have
us.
your handle on your RV? You do?
It
Okay.
is.
Very cool. Yeah. I waited a long time to do that. I wasn't sure how I felt about it because sometimes I'm like, that's a lot to be outside. Like I do weird things often. And so then sometimes I'm like, oh, someone might just have their phone out. I'm just off doing my, weird thing outside where it's like, do I really want someone to know who I am? I guess. Black.
Chris said it was like a how's my driving sticker.
My God. I love that. That's so true.
And they also say no such thing as bad publicity. So
There you go. Okay. I like that perspective too. But it is fun when we're traveling or someone will send a message like, hey, we saw you guys on the road. And of course, it's great when you're in a campground because then you can get connected more quickly with other families or other travelers. But there is a downside to it where it can be a little bit awkward. So y'all went to the RV show, the Tampa RV show this year, right? How did that go? Did you have any good conversations with people who, came to meet you where you didn't know them before? Or tell us a little bit about that.
We had a lot of fun, getting to know everybody. This was our second year going as content creators. We actually found this rig there years before at the Tampa show, but we were able to go to different creator events this year that we weren't like big enough or able to before. So that was really fun. And to get to actually have conversations with people, not just like, hey, here's my sticker, which is fun, but you can't get a lot of conversations out of that. I didn't video tour in not one RV the whole time. We didn't create any content while we were there. It was just conversations. And that was probably my favorite part of it. Like it was just, we took selfies with people we ran into and that's it.
I love that you made it like low pressure, kind of, not a pressure to necessarily work, but just be there and connect with other RVers and everything, because it can be a little overwhelming, especially if you're wanting to connect with brands too. Sometimes that just feels like a lot, but that's great. I'm glad to hear you all had a good experience. I really had wanted to go this year, but you're in California and that was rather tricky. So hopefully next year we'll be able to make our way over there. So your next would you rather have to travel with that chimpanzee for your travel days or stop traveling and go back to stationary? This one's probably obvious now that I know more about the chimp.
Chris is going to teach that chimp to hook up the RV. It's going to be driving us.
He'll be driving us by the time it's all said and done. I would much rather do that. Nothing against a home, but the work that comes with an RV is still significantly less than mowing your lawn every week and all the other things that come with a house. And all of that time gets back to the family. I'm actually enjoying that time now, not working. I'm not saying I won't ever do it, but going back to sticks and bricks is not on the plate right now.
Yeah, I agree. It's so true. It's so much work to be an RVer. It's so many repairs, but then it's like you have that in a house too. At least this way, you get to have all these adventures and stuff. I will say it feels different because you're in an RV, so sometimes you have something super unexpected that just like derails your entire life situation and your plans. And that's kind of less likely in a house because even if, let's say, you have like a pipe burst or like something like that, that is really a horrible thing to happen, you're still kind of able to like move through life as you typically would. You just have to get that repaired, But I think that's just the trickier side of RVing where sometimes you're like, my whole plan has now blown up because whatever, this thing fell off my rig or whatever it may be. But you're so right that there's still all of that with sticks and bricks, and there is definitely more family time depending on how you're set up. With RVing, we've experienced the same too. And just the memories that we are able to create make all of those headaches and all those RV pairs and surprise upgrades totally worth it.
Surprise upgrades. That's what we're going to call it.
Yes. Yes. And now we know the chimp. Like the chimp would have just, gosh, could you imagine being content creators? You just got a chimp rolling with you.
With our Aussie too. Look, he's like, next pet? No.
Know what's going to be in my search bar after this.
Yeah, I didn't. And when I was thinking about this question, though, I hear some chimps are actually rather naughty and kind of aggressive too. So I wasn't exactly sure what situation y'all ran into. I imagine being from Central Florida, you have been to, it's Silver Springs, right? That has the wild monkeys. Yeah. I, of course, was so excited to go see them. And then I heard about how they throw their poop and that they have like an STD now. I forget which one it is. So then that can be like in their poop. So then I was less thrilled by them, but they were still very cute. But I guess, yeah, they are mischievous. Like they like to mess with people. So
this one, my experience very much so in person was not like that. He was extremely polite. So
oh my gosh, I love it. A gentleman chimp. He just wanted a lift to the bar. He needed his nightcap. Like it was no problem.
I guess
That's
his legs
so
were
cute.
tired. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. My new life goal to just find a chimp in my vehicle at some point that just wants to go for a little ride, which is so sweet. I love that.
After toddlers with snacks, it can't be that much of a mess.
That's a good point. I'm sure it's just very similar and just adorable. And Kelly, thank you so much for coming on the Take the Trip podcast and sharing your stories and your journey. Listeners, if you're not already following them over at My 500 Square Foot Life, it's linked in the show notes, and also over on Highway Handyman, which I'm sure will have lots of tips and tricks for repairing those RVs. Go check them out and follow along for amazing recipes, RV DIY hacks, and real RV life. Thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me. Would appreciate it so much if you would leave a review if you're enjoying the real talk. Safe travels, y'all.
Chris hung up his work boots young. At 40 he was done. Said let's go see that open road before the best days run. Kelly tied on her apron, teen girl packed her bag. One small home for rolling hearts and a map in the dash. Now the miles keep calling and the whole wide world feels near. With a tank full of wonder and a laugh in every gear. 500 square feet of life rolling where the sun stays high. 500 square feet of life, small house, big blue sky. Chris and Kelly, teenage dreams turns into memories. 500 square feet of life, that's the way we ride. One day Chris found a chimp in his truck like he wanted one wild ride. Kelly laughed so hard she had to sit with her hands on the counter side. She's got beans on the simmer and cinnamon in the air. Teen girl makes the playlist while dad backs out with flair. It ain't about the size, it's what you carry in your soul. A little grit, a little grace, and a story on the go. 500 square feet of life rolling where the sun stays high. 500 square feet of life, small house, big blue sky. Chris and Kelly, teenage dreams turns into memories. 500 square feet of life, that's the way we ride. They built those bunk beds sturdy, added shelves and a secret slide. A fold-out table, copper hooks, and a place for every ride. From muddy boots to roadside blooms to a skid